Hello everyone, I'm Roadrunner,
And I'm Night Browser.
and welcome back to Rock and Alt Read Through. The huge theme this week is Post Malone, who ended up getting 9 of his 14 new songs on the album to chart this week, all within the top half too. We're also, there's going to be a little surprise here towards the middle of the chart, which you can kind of guess in the title of this video. But let us start with our top 10, where Posty had a surprising amount of impact. Why don't
Alright.
you start us off, Night Browser?
Some great news is we got a new number one. What was I Made For by Billie Eilish. It's hearing some pretty strong streaming with a bit of rising radio. Honestly, it and the number two are very close points wise, so it could go either way next week. Down at number
Mm-hmm.
two, we have Need a Favor by Jelly Roll, which didn't really lose in any category. It more so stalled a bit as the number one flew past it. Still,
Mm-hmm.
as strong of a radio run as ever, with decent streaming and sales to boot. Stable at number three, we have Something the Orange by Zach Bryan, which has stable, unwavering streaming and actually just ended its 66 week run on the Hot 100, but will probably remain on this chart for a little while. At number four, we have Dial Drunk by Noah Kahan, now credited with the Post Malone feature. It's on a very stable but fleeting streaming. Radio needs to get on board if it wants to continue to get a good
Yeah.
run. At number
Something I want to mention before I continue. I feel like they purposely waited till this week to give Post Malone the feature, just for like optics sake. Like, oh look how many songs he has in the top 10, when they could have easily credited him last week.
Oh yeah, true.
Yeah. But
But
yeah.
I am glad he is getting credited now because I do prefer the remix.
Mm-hmm. And it's like objectively getting listened to more at this point, so
Yeah, yeah, true.
it was about time.
But
Yeah, why don't
yeah,
you
back
continue this off?
at number five, we have the first Post Malone song in the top 10 with Enough Is Enough up to list the other songs he has in the top 10. At number 6, he has Overdrive, which bounced back a spot from last week. At number 7, Something Real. And at number 8, Don't Understand. And down to number 9, we have I'm Just Ken by Ryan Gosling, which despite gaining points lost a few spots down here, and mostly gained from a massive streaming spike. And to round us off at number 10, and we're back to Post Malone with Sign Me Up. Now, why don't
Mm-hmm.
you talk about the losers and dropouts, Roadrunner?
Sure. We have a lot due to the album bomb this week, and we have one big song going recurrent, and it was just very unfortunate timing, as it just hit its 26th week last week. But Dawns by Zach Bryan featuring Maggie Rogers goes recurrent and locks in its year-end spot for the Rock and All year end. It's just really unfortunate because we just got the news yesterday that his album is coming on the 19th,
Yeah.
and I don't know if they're gonna allow the song back on here. But it had a really good run regardless.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
just a poorly timed album bomb.
Yeah.
Um, uh, Other songs that are going recurrent slash had a run that are probably not coming back, as we predicted. Uh, Blue Hair goes recurrent and most likely locks in its year-end spot. So there's Christmas Kids by Roar. The only two songs that are kind of iffy in terms of the year-end that are probably not coming back is She by Jelly Roll and Motorcycle Drive by Zach Bryan. Those could go either way. Now for our losers, we have now 6 Noah contracts outside this top 10, but still charting, but losing position as streaming continues to dissipate. Nothing Compares to You by the late Sinead O'Connor slips from 10 to 23. Say Yes to Heaven by Lana Del Rey has a big slip from 11 to 21, but it's mostly due to the album bomb. Strain Narrow by Sam Barber continues to slip as it goes from 16 to 25 this week. Uh, Thankfully, Void by Melanie Martinez goes from 24 to 31 as its run is looking to finally come to an end. Glad to see you was kind of a flash in the pan.
Yeah.
Um,
Thankfully, pop radio is finally dropping that.
Yes. Eat Your Young by Hosier slips from 40 to 29 last week, as it's looking to go recurrent next week as its run naturally comes to an end. Um, Off the debuts, Journey to the Real World by Tame Impala slips from 19 to 30, and The Way Things Go by BOTW slips from 26 to 38. Now onto our gains and reentries. We had no reentries this week and only one gain outside the top 10, which is The Death of Peace of Mind by Bad Omens as a radio run continues.
Hell yeah.
Um, hmm But now onto our debuts. Album bomb rules are in effect, but since Post Malone charted everything top 20 means we have to cover everything
Oh
that
boy.
charted from him. So let's just get started. At
Yeah.
number 48, we have Bug Like an Angel by Mitski. Um, so my thoughts is this is Mitski's return after smashing with her last album, after getting a TikTok following, and my thoughts is just a pretty nice breezy ballad where she goes over her various struggles now into her adulthood, specifically drinking. Yeah, just very
Yeah.
nice sounding song all around. Can't wait to see what her upcoming album has to offer.
Oh yeah. Mitski is an artist I've yet to really get per se, and yet this one clicked with me, even if it took a bit of time to get there. As you said, it's about her struggles growing up, specifically with alcoholism and her failure to quit the habit. It's woven together all instrumentally with the subtle guitar and the choirs backing up her and backing her up in the chorus, and man, does this all hit. I'm happy to say I've found a song from hers that I really enjoy.
A. Now onto our surprise for this week. At number 24, we have Fast Car by Tracy Chapman. Um, this is gonna be a long review from you, so just uh,
Oh boy.
buckle up. Okay. So now for this song, I'm surprised that Billboard finally let it chart now of all weeks, with its resurgence. But before I say anything, let me start off with the story of how I discovered the song. I was doing a rank down that one of my friends hosted, having no context about how well liked this song was, or its history. And when I listened to it for the first time, I put it in decent tier, because that's how I was generally feeling at the time. And after seeing the reactions from my other friends in that server, I was a bit confused, as I just really had no context. It was like my first time even being introduced to the song. And as the year went on, though, and especially after the Luke Combs version took off like it did, I started getting why the song was so liked and critically praised. But I'm sorry, I have to be honest with y'all, the audience, and the Unite browser. It just doesn't do much for me, or at least like I kind of am missing the hype a bit. Um, and I don't know why. Maybe it's a case that I just discovered it. I haven't had that long history with it like others. I just don't connect with it. Now with all the context I do have, I do think it's a bit better than I previously thought. The lyrics are incredibly iconic and well written. It's kind of the sound that just doesn't do anything for me, as it feels pretty empty and disjointed. But maybe that's what Tracy was going for all I know. But otherwise, it's pretty good. Just not really my thing.
Yeah, very understandable. Anyways, this is generally considered by many to be a classic, and I gotta agree with that. I think the guitar line here is pretty memorable. The lyrics are a heartbreaking portrayal of a couple struggling to make ends meet, a message that's still relevant to this day, and Tracy's somber performance is just as mesmerizing. I do love the Luke Combs cover as well as most, but the original was the first and best version of Fast Car there is, at least in my opinion.
Yeah. But now we finally get to our Post Malone songs. Starting at number 20, we have Green Thumb by Post Malone. Before we start all the Post Malone stuff, gotta say, I am in love with the sound of this album, so I'm glad we get to cover it. Um, but I will be short with the review since we have so many songs to go through. Uh, this song is Posty going by a house of an ex after a few years and noticing the unkempt garden and wondering how she changed over the years since he knew her to have like a green thumb and love gardening.
Uh-huh.
Um, the and you know he ends it depressingly as he finishes the song by saying he will think about how they never ended up together on laying on his deathbed. And I really think it's really creative using the flower as a metaphor for the garden as like the metaphor for their relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a great overall premise and just a great song all around.
Oh yeah, uh, this right here is perhaps the most stripped down track on Austin. Here he sorrows over his broken heart, crying to his ex lover over the future plans they made together were left for dead once you left him for another man or a garden. He as he puts it. It's a raw listen, but one that works great as the penultimate track on the album and does put a tear in my eye.
Mm-hmm. Now on to number 16, Laugh It Off. Um, and this is 100% one of my favorites on the album. From my understanding I got from the lyrics, it's how his fans look at him and how he's perceived by the general public and how he's expected to laugh off um, maybe mean comments and stuff thrown his way. But his when in reality his opinions of their opinions of him actually get to him and affect him. And the best part of this track is definitely the melody, and the sound is so immaculate where it ends with that drum and guitar solo just amped up to 11.
Uh,
A definite recommend for me.
Oh yeah. I also love this one, and I'd even go as far as to call it one of his best songs. Period.
Oh yeah, definitely
He,
agreed.
he goes into all the flack he's faced from over so many years, and how it caused him to go reclusive for a month, and how he now laughs at all the criticism he gets, even if it still hurts him deep down. Carrying this devastation is the equally powerful to behind which is one of the more rock cuts on the project, especially at the end where, as you said, the guitar really strikes in for the climax. As there, I and also as you said, if there's any song I'd recommend checking out from Austin, it's this one.
Hmm. Now on to number 15, Buyer Beware. Um, I thought this one was okay. Sounds pretty generic compared to a lot of other tracks on the album. Lyrics are a bit vague, but seem to deal with the choices he makes in life, where the title comes into play, like "Be careful what you wish for" type situation.
Oh yeah. But yeah, I like this one a lot. The melodies here are great, which is helped by the smooth instrumentation driven by that psychedelic bass line. The lyrics here, I'd say, are intriguing. Here he pleads with someone to go ease on him over his own issues and warns not to waste time with him. It's unclear whether this person he's speaking towards is like a significant other or even to the listener themselves, but I think the open interpretation gives it this dark, mysterious vibe, and it really makes this stand out as one of the highlights on the album, at least in my opinion.
Hmm. Next is number 14, Hold My Breath. Um, this one is just a nice sounding song. It reminds me a lot of 60s pop. Um,
Mm-hmm.
it kind of feels like he's in a dreamlike state. Lyrics seem to be about Posty trying to get his significant other to feel the same as him. And a beautiful orchestral outro to boot. Pretty good song.
Oh yeah, yeah. Not I don't have a lot to say here. It's a simple ballad where he tries to convince his lover not to leave him, and I think it's all right for what it was. I like the build up near the end with the added strings, though. Him throwing out his vocal cords on the third verse was kind of grating, but overall, it's
Yeah.
alright. No, it didn't think it was anything special.
Mm-hmm. Number 12, Socialite. Uh, this is another one of the songs that was just there, basically going over all his experiences of being a celebrity. Also with the iconic line, "I'm calling her Shrek because she got a donkey." So there's
Um,
that. Oh, God. Yeah. Um, your
yeah.
thought?
But yeah, yeah, here he cries about his loneliness, bemoaning how his constantly wild lifestyle makes him a nuisance to others and his inability to hold a strong relationship. It's backed up by a very solid instrumental, though, as Roadrunner stated, the track line does bring it down. Slightly for me, like it's a minor part of the song, but it's so tonally out of place that I'm
Yeah,
not sure why he left it in there. But that
exactly.
said, though, I did like this one.
Mm-hmm. Um, Next is number 10 with Sign Me Up. This one has a bit of like an 80s tinge with its groove, and it's pretty good overall. A song seems to be about an infatuation for someone, literally says he would do anything for her, even compares his love to a cult or like a new religion, um, which is just so comedically over the top, but yeah, pretty cool song all around.
Oh yeah. Uh, uh, Honestly, if I had to make any sonical comparisons, it reminds me a lot more like a lot of the more early 2010s indie pop. Up, here, Posty meets a girl at a party and is willing to do anything for her, only to realize she was only interested in for his alcohol. I love how it's when it's revealed he was drunk, the instrumental slows down for the rest of the song to emphasize the toxic situation he was in, and yeah, this one was quite good.
Mm-hmm. Um, Now, number 8, Don't Understand. Just such an amazing song from the album. It's the intro. Very melancholic. It seems Posty to be at his lowest here, as he's just it being incredibly self-deprecating. Um, this track feels like it's heavily inspired by Nirvana's more low-key cuts with its unfiltered, untuned guitars and vocals. Just a song that never fails to give me chills with the string build up towards the end. Another hard recommend here for me.
Yeah, to be honest, I wasn't that huge huge on the this. Here Posty sings of his self-loathing, why wondering why this girl who's been in a relationship for some time loves him, yet Stanley shows him that she still means a lot to him back. I think it's okay, but it's far from one of my favorites on the album. Though I can't see this one growing on me.
Mm-hmm. Now number seven's something real. Um, a pretty good banger. A switch up where Post's nihilistic outlook on his life, with this like very bombastic production and the choir on the chorus, it all just sounds amazing. A recommend here for me.
Yeah, honestly, I had no idea what to think of this one. Now, I do like. Sorry, but now I do like the RS. The gospel choirs really, as you said, they really make him stand out. The problem I have with it though is the rest of the instrumental, where it's like this mixture of synthwave and folk, and they both clash instead of complementary complementing. Let me try this again. And
Mm-hmm.
and I have a problem with the rest of this instrumental where it's this mixture of synthwave and folk, and they both clash instead of complementing each other. I will say it's a unique mix match of genres. I think it'd work with more polishing, but just this one just kind of sounds unfinished to me.
Mm-hmm. Um, yeah. And on to our last track here. We have at number 5, Enough is Enough. I'm glad this is being pushed as the next single. It's basically Post's take on a drinking anthem with his experience on a drunk night out. But what I really love is there's a sprinkle of like darker themes in there with like this very happy instrumental, but what he's singing about doesn't seem all that pleasant. Really
Oh yeah.
interesting juxtaposition.
Oh yeah. Here's another one that I'm not exactly huge on, but I can also see that one, this one growing on me. I think the lyrics here are executed very well. He show they show Posty continue to struggle with his alcoholism and wanting to move away from this addiction. And what keeps me from enjoying it, however, is the instrumentation, which is this '80s revival sound that resembles all the other similar forever acts for the past 3 years. Too much for me. But that said, though, the chorus is very strong melodically, and I wouldn't be surprised if I kept returning to this for that catchy hook alone. So yeah, I think it's okay at best, but for now at least.
So why don't you get into your awards for this week?
All right. Best of the week for me is gonna go to "Fast Car" by Tracy Chapman, while I'll give the honorable mention to "Laugh It Off" by Post Malone. I don't really have a dishonorable mention here. The worst of the week I'll give it to "Something Real" by Post Malone, but even then, I wouldn't even call it bad. It's just kind of meh.
Yeah. For me, my best of the week is actually a tie between "Laugh It Off" and "Don't Understand." Um, my honorable mention is gonna go to Fast Car, but because it would just feel very disrespectful with its legacy, and to leave it off. And I do actually really like the writing on the song, and I get why it's loved. But yeah, it's getting my honorable mention here. My dishonorable mention is gonna go to Buyers Beware, although it's not really that bad. And worst of the week is gonna go to Socialite by Post Malone, which is another one that's not really bad, but it's just kind of mediocre.
Oh yeah.
Um, so before we get into the end here, I just was wondering, what did you think of Austin as a whole?
I thought it was, I thought it was pretty good. Though, and I can see you disliking it even more as time went on. A couple of my a cup. Yeah, but yeah, I don't really have a lot to say. Good album. I could see myself returning to it.
Mm-hmm. I think this is a massive step up from 12 Karat Toothache. I would say it's my favorite from him, but I really have to return to like Beer Bongs and Bentleys and Hollywood's Bleeding to really make that decision. But uh, quality wise, I think it's definitely a step up from his last album.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah. I actually haven't listened to Beer Bongs and Bentleys yet, but I will. I feel like it's on par or on quality with Hollywood's Bleeding.
hmm But yeah, I think that's finally it for this episode. For next week, it seems like it's just going to be a bit of fallout from this, as there seems to be nothing notable coming out. Um,
Yeah.
in the rock sphere at least. We'll keep the rest of this short sweet as it was a long episode, so we would definitely appreciate a like and subscribe. You know you want to. Comment your favorite debut this week too, as we're always interested in hearing other people's perspectives. Also, I forgot to say this last episode, but we have a channel called Billboard Road Crew where you can find the original episodes of the series plus general Billboard related content. If you're interested, we're going to have a link down below. Um, Thank you, everyone who watches this series. We appreciate you very much. I'm Roadrunner,
And I'm Night Browser.
and we'll see you on the next episode.